Yo yo, Grimlock here. I thought I'd do a video, more or less on items, and hopefully it's helpful for maybe newer players or people who have been playing but don't really pay too much to the items that you have and what to carry in your pouches. If I sound a bit chesty, it's because I've just got over like a cold or something. So of course you've got your items. You can go in your tent as well to access this. Then you have your transfer items crafting list and view/sell. So of course you can sell your monster materials if you ever get low on Zenny. Like your gems are usually worth a little bit, but more or less you won't really do this too often. But doing your Artian upgrades and transcending your gear and upgrading your armor does cost a lot of Zenny. So if you do ever get really low and you've got the spare monster materials lying around, you can just sell them for Zenny. But otherwise, that's not too often that comes up. Crafting list, you will use the crafting function to make your mega potions, your max potions, your ancient potions, and other stuff as well. It is an important function for quick making your ammunition if you're using bowgun as well, which I'll go into in a bit. And your traps as well you make. And then of course like your actual pouches, so you've got your coating pouch, which is if you're using bow. This doesn't really change honestly. You've got your ammo pouch, which is if you're using bowgun, and then you've got your item pouch. Then there's different things you can do when you're in this area. So of course, as you see, the top part is my actual item pouch, what's in there, and the bottom is my item box, which is everything that's in like my inventory. And you can move stuff around. So when you're in this mode, you can press triangle and it brings up a sub menu. I'm on PlayStation, so it's triangle for me. But you can look at the bottom here and it just tells you what you can press. So if you're on PC or Xbox, it'll tell you what button you can press. So it's the sub menu. And then it has like restock items. So it just restocks everything that's in your current item pouch. So if I had one mega potion, it'd put it back up to 10. So it's a really quick way of just jumping in, restock, and then everything that's in there is restocked. If you need to take them out manually, you just scroll down, and let's say I want hot drinks, I'll just click on the hot drinks and they'll go into my pouch. And same thing here. Of course, there's a restock all ammo as well, and most of this other stuff doesn't come up too often. However, you've got, as you see, like portable barbecue grill. These are like essential items. They will always be in your pouch. However, if you don't want them to appear on your item bar, as it says at the bottom here, essential items cannot be stored in your box. However, you can use the X to show/hide them on your item bar. Again, control varies and depending on what you're playing on. So if I don't want to see my capture net, I click it. As you can see, this little red bag has appeared with an X when I do that. So that just means basically it's hidden and I won't be able to see it on my item bar. Now, what I actually have on me, that'll vary. So I don't use many items when I go on hunts. I'm a bit of a minimalist. I think that's just a side effect of playing all the older Monster Hunters and not wanting to gather materials for stuff. But more or less I have the main essentials to keep me alive, which is your potions, your mega potions, max potions, ancient potions, rations, well done's. So, of course, for potion-wise, these here are your main source of healing yourself. Mega potion will heal a decent amount of your HP. Max potion will heal your full HP, and if it's like not at its max capacity, it will increase the actual health gauge capacity. And ancient potion, same thing, but it also increases your stamina max capacity as well. So usually you eat your meals, or when you eat food, that'll increase your capacities. However, if you take your ancient potion, that'll do both of them. Then I have ration, which is for your stamina bar, and well done steak, which does the same, boosts stamina and health capacity gauges as well. but it doesn't restore the HP. We've got Life Powder and Dust of Life. So these are really handy to always have on you because they can heal everyone in the party. So if your teammate's pinned or is in trouble or has got stunned and they can't heal themselves, it's a really, really helpful thing to just quickly switch over to them and just Life Powder or Dust of Life for them all. Dust of Life heals a large amount, whereas Life Powder heals a smaller amount. So example, like in the Omega quest, if he's in the Panky mode and he starts having that tantrum, he starts jumping around like crazy. If one of your teammates are close and gets knocked over by that, there's a good chance your teammate might die. Because if you get knocked over, it's going to jump back over towards you. And it's really difficult to try to get out of that when you're not on your secret or like already far away. So at that point, you know, if you're running around in your secrets, you could just start healing your teammate with your powders. So in my opinion, they're really important. You got Power Charm and Armor Charm. I actually forget where you get these. I think you buy them from the store. These just stay in your pouch. You don't ever see them on your bars or anything. They basically just give a stat increase to your attack and your defense. No reason not to have them, honestly. But yeah, you just want these in there. I've just got this because I think it's cool. You can use it in the Omega quest, but it just makes these like Pictomancy stuff. It's not essential though. You don't need it for many other quests, but it's fun. Aside from those, you do have stuff like Antidote, Energy Drink, Cleanser, Deodorant, Cool Drink, and Hot Drink. So these things can be like assistance for depending on what you're doing. So Antidote is for poison. Energy drinks to get out of that sleep state before you actually fall asleep. Cleanser is for webbing and frost on your body. Deodorants for the stench and blast blights. Cool drinks for hot environments like the oil well basin. And hot drink is for cold environments like the ice shard cliffs. Again, you don't always need to carry these around. It sometimes can be helpful. But regarding hot drink and cool drink, there is usually the bugs, like chill mantle bugs, and they usually do the exact same thing, and they're just lying around the map. But, you know, sometimes it's handy just having these on you anyway. And same with all these other things. If you make specific builds for specific monsters, half the time these aren't super necessary. But I don't think in this game there's any like monsters that are a big problem with poison or sleep, etc. So I wouldn't. Antidotes and stuff are important, but it depends on the monster, I think. Aside from that, you've got Immunizer, Wild Jerky, Dash Juice. These are just nice. So Wild Jerky gets rid of bleeding and increases your natural healing, which is quite a nice little thing. It's great for Sergios, so it's nice to have them on you. Dash Juice, really great for making it so you don't use as much stamina. Your stamina depletion is reduced. So it's great for a lot of weapons like Dual Blades. It just doesn't last very long. Same with Immunizer. It doesn't last very long, but it boosts your natural health recovery. You've got your buff items. So Might Seed, Demon Drug, Mega Demon Drug, Might Pill. And then down here I've got Demon Powder and Hard Shell Powder. And then you've got Adamant Seed, Armor Skin, Mega Armor Skin, and Adamant Pill. So the red ones are for attack buffs, and the brown or yellow ones, browny yellows, they're for armor buffs. More or less, you might want to use these in the later games, like maybe when you're doing Savage Omega and stuff, or you're using like a consume build. You can consume stuff and all your teammates will get stuff as well with wide range. Carrying stuff like this around is probably handy. Aside from that, you've got barrel bombs. They can be helpful. If the monster falls asleep, you guys can barrel bomb it. Your traps. Traps are really handy. Realistically, I should carry traps. One, you can just put them down. It stops the monster moving. You get free damage. And two, carry trank bombs with you. You can capture the monsters when they're weak. I'm usually someone who doesn't capture monsters too much. I prefer to kill them. However, capturing is the easier way. One, if you're doing speedrun stuff, capturing is the optimal way. And two, let's say you've lost 3 lives and you've got 1 life left because you have insurance on the quest, and the monster's giving you some trouble and the skull appears to say it's weak enough to get captured. You most likely want to capture it. Like, one person could die and then you failed the quest when it's right at the end. Or if you just sick to death of fighting a monster, you can just capture it as soon as it gets low enough. You're like, I cannot be bothered with this fight anymore. So, really handy though, having your traps and your trank bombs on you. Pods. Luring pods are really good. So luring pods will basically draw the monster's aggro to you. They're really good at stopping monsters running away to another area, or luring them into traps or to areas of environmental damage stuff. So luring pods are always quite good. You got your dung pods, which will get rid of like other monsters, or get rid of the monster you're fighting. You want to separate it from like a different monster, or like Doshagumas, they all hang around in packs. If your large dung pod, the alpha Doshaguma, all the Doshagumas will spread everywhere, and then you can fight them one-on-one. Screamer pod, it's not really relevant in this game. Helps you capture one of the endemic lives, but the other thing it does is it gets Balaharas out of the ground, so monsters with sensitive hearing get disrupted by this stuff. I think Yian-Kakus can get stunned by Screamer pods as well, but I'm only thinking of this from old Monster Hunters, so I don't know if it still applies to this game. But I'll test it out. Flash pods are probably one of the better pods out of all of them. So like Rathalos is a pain because he flies so much, but you can just flash him, he falls out the sky, and then you can just start wailing on him. And he starts flying again, you flash him back out. Monsters do gain resistances to flash pods though, so you don't always expect it to keep working. You've just used 3 and then you've quick made 3 more, there's a chance that maybe you're not going to be able to flash again. So sometimes have to keep in mind, and some monsters flash pods do not work against. Like New Udra, don't work against him. Gore Magala is blind, so flash pods don't work against him. Omega flash pods don't work against. There's quite a few monsters that they might not work against. And Arc Tempered and Tempered monsters do gain resistances a lot faster, so you will find they don't become as useful for those. But it's a fantastic item. It's very good for disrupting stuff. Aside from that, you can just carry like items with you as ingredients, which is where, as you see, if I hold L1, it comes up with my bar menu at the bottom right, and it says square or circle for me. Of course, it'll be something different depending on what you're playing on, and that lets me scroll. That's usually how I go through my weapons. Not my weapons, my items. However, the more optimal way of doing it is to go through your radial menu. As you see here, I'm kind of just scrolling through my different radial menus. This one here is all healing things. And of course, I could use stuff just by clicking in that direction. And it is more of the optimal way of doing stuff. My whetstones up here. And of course, like, there's my Pictomancy. So it's a very easy way of just accessing stuff. Now, I don't use it that much. I'm not really used to the radial menu. That's just probably my own laziness, not trying to get used to it. It's really, really good if you're using bowgun. So, example, you can go to your like ammunitions if you've ran out, and you can quick craft them if you have the crafting items in your pouch, which they are pretty easy to craft, majority of them. So if I'm using dragon ammunition, I only need Dragonfell berries with me, because you have infinite amount of normal ammo on you. So you just bring 10 Dragonfell berries with you, and then you can quick craft them into dragon ammo. And 1 Dragonfell berry makes 2 dragon ammo. So you're only using 2 Dragonfell berries to make your full ammunitions for dragon ammos, for example, which is 4. So it is super important to try and get used to the radial menu. It is a bit weird to get used to, but definitely worth it once you do get it to it, for sure. One One thing I can say, the items are important. Okay, if you do want hunts to go smoother, or you do struggle a bit with just like using weapons and you're not using many items at the moment, you do maximize on trying to use the items as possible, like when you feel like you do need them. Traps, they will help you out a lot. Flash pods, luring pods, these are all things designed to help you in the game and make it easier to hunt stuff. Um, Me, I don't use too many things, but I've played Monster Hunter a long time, so a lot of my play style is just kind of like reaction speed times, and I dodge stuff well. But if I want to speed run something, I'll use all the items I can because it really does show that they help out a lot. So that's a really big key thing in my opinion, is getting used to your items, making sure you're using them. I will say a really big key thing as well is healing. A lot of people don't heal as much as they should. It might be because you're not used to looking at your HP bar at this point in time. When you get to the later part of the game, it becomes much more important to keep up with healing. You ideally want your HP at 80% plus. A lot of the monsters hit very hard, and you could be on 60% HP, but that won't be good enough against some of the monsters that hit like a train. Like Gore Magala, he hits very hard, and I've played with a lot of different random people, and some people just don't heal. And I'm like, you're on maybe 40% HP against a 9 5-star Gore. He's gonna kill you if he hits you with one move. And say with Gogmasius, Savage Omega, these are all fights where, if you're dropping HP, putting your weapon away and just chugging a potion down, really handy. If you've got a support player on your team, fantastic. You might not even have to worry about healing. But it is super important to use your items and to heal as much as possible. Um, that's what they're there for. All the items are there to keep you alive and make the game easier. Getting used to them all, though, it might take some time. Like getting used to looking at your HP bar and stuff might take some time. But just to wrap it up, the other thing is your items. You do have this area called material retrieval, which I think you get after you complete the story, like the main story. And basically Nata lets you organize all the different villages, and they can gather certain items for you that you choose. So you can see here there's a list. Bombay is 3-star for these, and Nitro, Shroom, and Fire Herb. That's how easy it is for them to produce those things for you. I've got them on 2 honey, thunderbug pasta, bitterbug broth, and mandragora. And this is because these items are much more key. Thunderbug pasta for shock traps. Mandragora helps make a catalyst, I believe, and the catalyst make your max potions and your ancient potions and stuff. Honey towards mega potions. So keeping up with retrieving these and having the villagers make you stuff is really handy. The other thing is you can go out into the wilderness and just collect. Run around on your sacreds and just shoot out your gathering wire and just gather everything you see. That's also something you can do. But yeah, I thought I'd just cover items and just have a little quick talk about them. I can do more in detail stuff about them, or I can do some shorts of covering each item and what they do. If that's something people feel like would be helpful, I can do that. Otherwise, regarding that, there are skills in the game as well. I'll go over like skills on your armors and stuff, because there are skills that affect your items. But I'll do that at another time. I was just mainly focusing on just like having items in your item bar and understanding if you should use or you shouldn't use them. Trying to keep your item bar as small as possible if you are a scroller like me. Really important. Because if your item bar is filled because you've got loads of stuff in your pouch, you're going to be 4 business days just to get to your potions and just zooming through them all. which I've done a lot, where I've had too many things in my bag and I've not realized, and then I've been like scrolling through like 15 items to get to a potion. But and it's just a learning curve. It's nice to have the information there. So anyway, I think the next thing I'll do will probably be like the options, like all the option menus and what some of the different things do and what you can do while you're in the option menus. I know it can be a little bit confusing for people, but I'll cover that on the next video anyway. I do. So anyway, I will see you guys around. Bye.